Norma Hicks knows the problems that deferred annuities can bring all too well. When she needed them the most, after her husband died, they didn't help. She's joined today by Ingrid Evans, an attorney with Rennie, Sloan, Holtzman, and Sakai. Thank you both for joining us today. Norma, why don't I start with you? When you were going to get some advice, some financial help, what were you seeking to do in the first place when you were planning for your financial future?
Well, I guess we started with the living trust, and then from there we got involved with the annuity.
Okay, and the deferred annuities are those that pay out after a long period of time. Were you aware when you were buying these annuities
No.
how they worked?
No.
Yeah.
And she had no idea that the person who sold her the annuity was an insurance agent when he showed up at her house. He just came over, pretended like he was their friend, and sold them the annuity. He never disclosed that he was an insurance agent.
Is that legal for people to come to your house and not disclose that they're in fact an insurance agent? Is this a legal practice?
It actually is an illegal practice. They are required by law to give 24 hours notice in writing that they are an insurance agent before they come over and sell a product. That law changed, it was enacted a few years back, but before that they could legally show up and never disclose they were an insurance agent. And that's what they would do. They would show up with this vested interest of selling an insurance product but never tell their customer that that is what they were going to in fact be doing, and that they were going to be making a huge, enormous commission from this insurance product.
Wow, so now folks actually have to be notified. There's no door-to-door solicitation, so if somebody comes to your house unexpected and wants to talk to you about a living trust or insurance product, you know that something's wrong. Is that right?
They have to give you notice in writing that they are an insurance agent if they are trying to sell you an insurance product.
Okay, so now you bought this annuity. How was it kind of sold to you that made you think, gosh, I need this?
A fast salesman type talk, you need to protect your money.
They say what you're protecting your money from? They just...
There was no mention of a surrender charge, absolutely nothing.
Okay, so now with your annuity, the surrender charge, is it a 25-year? What did it end up being that you had to wait?
10 years, and I found this out later from a financial advisor. 10 years, and then 25 years for it to mature.
Wow. So now in 2003, your husband passed away. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and at that time, you needed to access these funds.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I could not get them.
What did the insurance company tell you?
You cannot have your money. You cannot without a penalty.
This particular policy was especially troublesome because it had in it a death, they call it a death benefit, but it's actually a death surrender charge. So when the owner of the policy dies, they have a hidden surrender charge within the policy that if the new beneficiary wants to take the lump sum that's due to them under the policy, they actually have to pay a surrender charge. And that was what happened in the case of Mrs. Hicks. There was an enormous surrender charge she would have had to pay, so she was forced to annuitize or take income payments from the company, where the company continues to hold on to her money. Otherwise, she would have lost 13% of the money in her policy.
Wow. At a time when you needed it the most. I'm sure you had enormous expenses at that time.
Oh, yes. Yes, I had to have a ramp installed for my husband to get him from the to the garage to the car. It was expensive.
They had a lot of medical expenses, and she could have used the money that was put into this annuity that she can't now touch to pay for these medical expenses and help her out in the situation she was faced with her husband.
Are you still being burdened by these medical expenses?
I'm having to work at my age to make ends meet, and they still don't meet.
Oh, wow. So now, you were retired, and then you've gone back into the workforce just to pay for these medical expenses?
Absolutely.
Wow. And are you working full-time now, or?
Not full-time, but as much as I can.
Wow. And if you just would have known what you were getting yourself into, you wouldn't have to have dealt with this, gone back to work, rearranged your whole life based upon this.
And I hope by doing this program with you that we can stop this from happening to senior citizens. It isn't right what they're doing.
What do you want to tell people that are watching today? What should they know so this doesn't happen to them?
Check it out and let your children know, and seek advice from someone that you can trust. And we thought we could trust the agent who came to our house.
Now, he became very friendly with you.
Very, very friendly.
He presented as if he was looking out for your best interest.
You're right.
Ingrid, do people have protection, legal protections, if they are in an annuity and they have a death of a spouse or an extreme medical emergency? It sounds like you're locked into these things.
You're locked into these things. Unfortunately, they're contracts. And what the insurance companies are saying is that it's not our problem. You entered into this contract. Even though we concealed a bunch of material information from you, you signed a contract. But the problem here is the customer doesn't have full knowledge of what's really going on. They don't have full disclosure of the facts that they need to make an informed decision. They don't know that there's these surrender charges. They don't know that there's these interest rates that will fluctuate after the first year. So usually with these policies, there will be an interest rate that's very high the first year, and it will drop down at the discretion of the insurance company.
So you think you're getting this great investment with this huge return, but actually it drops off quite a bit.
Exactly.
Or it can.
And I call it a teaser interest rate because it draws the senior in to buy the policy, and then after the first year or a set period of time, it drops off, and it's solely up to the insurance company to set that interest rate. And they're going to set it in a way that makes it profit for them as opposed to their customers.
And I think it's also important to point out, and you touched on this, is that these folks that are coming door to door, like this gentleman that visited you, they're getting paid huge commissions.
Right, and there's no legal requirement that they disclose these commissions. Unfortunately, there's no law in the books that says an insurance agent has to tell the customer what he's making, and the insurance companies aren't forcing their agents to do that. And so, in fact, these agents are making enormous incentives from annuities, a lot more than they would make from other financial products, and that's why they're putting seniors into these products. But the law does not require them to disclose those commissions, so it would be very helpful, I think, for seniors if some laws got passed that required the insurance companies to make their agents disclose commissions that they're making from these products.
It seems like there should be a consumer bill of rights on this issue, that you have to disclose these things to people so they know the commissions, they know the surrender charges. It just seems like common sense that the consumer needs to be protected quite a bit more. And I thank you so much for both of you coming on today, because as you said, if you buy these deferred annuities, you get locked in, and there could be some huge consequences later on in life that you need to know about and think about. So thank you both so much. And if you would like more help